The invasion fleet crossed the belt and was never heard from again. The emergency klaxon screamed through mining station Prometheus like the wail of a dying star. Captain Bella Morimoto rolled from her narrow bunk, her dark hands already reaching for the uniform she'd kept folded beside her pillow for the past 3 years. The deep space mining station orbited between Mars and Jupiter, harvesting rare metals from the asteroid belt that had made humanity's expansion possible. But today, those asteroids would serve a different purpose. Bella's boots hit the cold metal floor as she pulled on her jacket. The klaxons meant only one thing. The early warning systems had detected something massive approaching from deep space. Something that shouldn't be there. She'd been expecting this moment ever since the long-range sensors had picked up the first gravitational anomaly 6 months ago. The corridor buzzed with activity as miners and technicians rushed to their stations. Bella pushed through the crowd, her athletic frame cutting through the chaos. These people trusted her to keep them alive, to make the impossible decisions that came with commanding humanity's most remote outpost. She burst into the command center where holographic displays showed a sight that made her stomach drop. Dr. Kwame Asante, the station's chief scientist, stood before the main tactical screen. His normally calm demeanor was cracked with barely contained fear. "Captain, we have visual confirmation," Kwame said, his Ghanaian accent thick with tension. "The fleet is real, and it's bigger than we thought." Bella stared at the display. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect formation through the outer solar system, each vessel the size of a city block. They were sleek, predatory shapes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. At the center of the formation, a command ship dwarfed even the largest human vessels ever built. "How many?" Bella asked, though she dreaded the answer. "Over 800 vessels," reported Lieutenant Thomas Reyes from his sensor station. The young man's hands shook as he adjusted the controls. "Captain, they're not broadcasting any identification signals. They're not responding to our hails. They're just coming." Bella nodded grimly. The hegemony had finally found them. For 2 centuries, humanity had wondered if they were alone in the universe. They'd built colonies on Mars, established mining operations throughout the asteroid belt, and sent probe ships to nearby star systems. But they'd never encountered another intelligent species. Some had hoped they were the first to reach space. Others had feared they were being watched, studied, judged. The second group had been right. "Get me Admiral Roth," Bella ordered, "and patch me through to all stations in the belt." The main screen flickered as Admiral Patricia Roth's weathered face appeared from her command ship near Titan. The older woman's gray eyes were sharp with intelligence and years of military experience. Behind her, the bridge of the battleship Indomitable buzzed with activity. "Bella, I assume you're seeing what we're seeing," Admiral Roth said without preamble. "Yes, ma'am. Any word from Earth?" "The Defense Council is meeting now, but at light speed, any orders won't reach us for hours. We're on our own for the immediate response." Bella looked around the command center. Her crew was small but experienced. They'd spent years working in the most dangerous environment in the solar system, solving problems that would kill them if they made a mistake. If anyone could figure out how to fight impossible odds, it was miners and engineers. "Admiral, what do we know about their capabilities?" "Dr. Vasquez has been analyzing their emissions," Roth replied. "She thinks they're using some kind of exotic matter propulsion. Their ships are massive, but they're moving at speeds that should be impossible for vessels that size." Dr. Isabella Vasquez appeared on a secondary screen from the research station at Ceres. Her dark hair was pulled back severely, and her brown eyes were bright with scientific curiosity, despite the circumstances. "Captain Morimoto, the energy readings are unlike anything we've seen," Isabella explained. "But here's the interesting part. Their technology appears to be brute force rather than elegant. They're using massive amounts of power to achieve what our ships could do with much less energy." "What does that mean for us?" Bella asked. "It means they're not necessarily smarter than us. They might just be older, with access to more resources." A new voice crackled over the communications system. "This is Commander Yuki Tanaka aboard the scout ship Peregrine. I'm tracking parallel to the alien formation at extreme range." Bella had served with Yuki during the Jupiter campaigns. The woman was one of the best pilots in the fleet, capable of squeezing performance out of a ship that the manufacturers never imagined. "What can you see, Yuki?" Admiral Roth asked. "Ma'am, they're maintaining formation like a parade ground display. No scouts, no advanced guard, no variation in their pattern. It's like they've never faced opposition before." Bella exchanged glances with Kwame. If the aliens had never encountered resistance, they might be vulnerable to tactics they'd never seen. "Admiral, I have an idea," Bella said, "but it's going to require everything we have." "I'm listening." "The asteroid belt has been our workplace for 50 years. We know every rock, every gravitational anomaly, every drift pattern. These aliens are flying into our backyard." Admiral Roth's eyes narrowed. "You're thinking of using the belt as a weapon." "Not just a weapon, the ultimate trap. But we'll need to coordinate with every mining operation, every research station, every maintenance depot in the belt, and we'll need to move fast." The plan that emerged over the next hour was audacious, bordering on insane. Humanity would turn the asteroid belt into the largest minefield in the solar system. But instead of conventional explosives, they would use the tools of their trade: mining charges, industrial lasers, and the asteroids themselves. Captain Dmitry Volkov commanded the heavy mining ship Hercules near the belt's outer edge. His crew had spent years moving asteroids the size of mountains, redirecting their orbits for easier harvesting. Now they would use those same techniques for war. We can move the big ones," Dmitry confirmed in his thick Russian accent. "But it will take time. These alien ships, they move fast." How much time?" Bella asked. 6 hours to position the first wave. 12 hours for full deployment." Bella looked at the tactical display. The alien fleet would reach the belt in 18 hours. It would be close, but it might work. "Do it," Admiral Roth ordered. "All stations, implement Operation Asteroid Storm. We're going to show these aliens what happens when you invade a system full of miners." Across the belt, humanity's industrial might turned to warfare. Mining ships that normally harvested valuable metals began moving asteroids into the aliens' projected path. Research stations that studied cosmic phenomena became observation posts. Maintenance depots that serviced the fleet became ammunition factories. Dr. Raj Patel worked frantically at the Vesta Research Station, his team of scientists reprogramming mining drones for combat. The small robotic units were designed to navigate the chaotic environment of the asteroid belt, but Raj was modifying them for a different purpose. "We're loading each drone with a quantum resonance transmitter," Raj explained to Bella over the communication link. "When the alien ships pass by, the drones will attach themselves to the hulls and begin broadcasting a signal that will interfere with their navigation systems." "Will it work?" Bella asked. "In theory, yes. The aliens are using gravitic navigation, but they don't seem to have accounted for the complex gravitational interactions in the belt. Our drones will amplify those interactions, making their navigation systems think they're in a completely different location." It was a desperate plan, but it was the kind of innovative thinking that had allowed humanity to survive and thrive in the hostile environment of space. Lieutenant Nora Morimoto, Bella's younger sister, commanded the destroyer Valkyrie from her position near Jupiter. The ship was one of the newer vessels in the fleet, equipped with experimental weapons that had never been tested in combat. "Bella, the quantum torpedo systems are online," Nora reported, "but we've only got 12 shots. After that, we're down to conventional weapons." "Make them count," Bella replied, "and Nora, be careful out there." "Always am, sister." The hours passed with agonizing slowness. Across the belt, thousands of humans worked to prepare for the invasion. They repositioned asteroids, programmed mining drones, and prepared industrial equipment for combat. It was the largest coordinated effort in human history, and it was being run by miners, scientists, and engineers who had never trained for warfare. But they had something the aliens didn't expect. They knew their battlefield better than anyone. As the alien fleet approached the belt's outer edge, Bella watched from Prometheus's command center. The massive ships moved in their perfect formation, confident in their superiority. They had no idea they were flying into a trap 50 years in the making. "All stations, report status." Admiral Roth's voice crackled over the communication system. "Hercules ready," Dmitry confirmed. "Asteroids positioned." "Vesta station ready," Raj added. "Drones deployed." "Valkyrie ready," Nora said. "Weapons hot." One by one, every human installation in the belt checked in. They were ready. The alien fleet entered the asteroid belt like a knife sliding into butter. Their formation remained perfect, their confidence unshaken. They had conquered dozens of worlds, and this one would be no different. They were wrong. The first indication of trouble came when the lead ships began to drift off course. The navigation systems that had guided them across interstellar space suddenly couldn't maintain their position. Raj's drones were working, attaching themselves to alien hulls and broadcasting signals that confused the gravitic sensors. "Admiral, the enemy formation is beginning to break apart," Yuki reported from her scout ship. "They're trying to compensate, but they're overcorrecting." That was when Dmitri struck. The asteroid he'd been moving for the past 8 hours was the size of a city block, and he'd positioned it perfectly in the alien's path. When the lead ship tried to avoid what appeared to be a navigation hazard, it flew directly into the rock at tremendous speed. The collision was visible from Mars. The alien ship, for all its advanced technology, was no match for several million tons of rock and metal moving at orbital velocity. The vessel crumpled like paper, its hull breaching in a dozen places as atmosphere vented into space. "Target down!" Dmitri shouted triumphantly. But the real trap was just beginning. The alien fleet, now in disarray, found themselves surrounded by what appeared to be normal asteroids. But these rocks had been hollowed out by years of mining, and inside each one, automated systems waited for the signal to activate. Bella gave that signal. "All stations, execute asteroid storm. Let's show them what human engineering can do." Across the belt, thousands of mining charges detonated simultaneously. The explosions were perfectly timed and positioned to create a cascade effect. Each blast pushed more rocks into the alien's path, while simultaneously creating a debris field that would block their sensors and communications. The orderly invasion fleet suddenly found itself in the middle of a chaotic storm of metal and rock. Ships that had maintained perfect formation for the entire journey were now scattered, their crews struggling to avoid collision with debris that seemed to come from every direction. Captain Yuki Tanaka saw her opportunity. The scout ship Peregrine was fast and maneuverable, perfect for the kind of hit-and-run tactics that the aliens had never encountered. She dove into the chaos, targeting the alien ship's sensor arrays and communication systems. "This is Peregrine, beginning attack run," she reported. "These ships are big, but they turn like space stations. I can hit them faster than they can track me." Her first torpedo struck an alien cruiser's communication array, leaving the ship deaf and blind in the middle of the asteroid storm. Her second shot destroyed the engines of another vessel, sending it tumbling helplessly through the debris field. But the real surprise came when the aliens tried to return fire. Dr. Isabella Vasquez had been right about their technology. The alien weapons were powerful but crude, designed to overwhelm rather than precisely target. In the close quarters of the asteroid belt, their massive energy beams were as likely to hit their own ships as human vessels. "Admiral, they're hitting each other," Nora exclaimed from the Valkyrie. "Their weapons are too powerful for this environment." "All ships close to knife fighting range," Admiral Roth ordered. "Make them choose between hitting us and hitting their own people." The battle became a deadly dance among the asteroids. Human ships, smaller and more agile, darted between the rocks, while alien vessels struggled to bring their weapons to bear. Every time an alien ship fired, it risked hitting another alien vessel or detonating an asteroid that would send deadly debris in all directions. Lieutenant Tomas Reyes, monitoring the battle from Prometheus, noticed something crucial. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy spikes from the alien command ship. I think they're trying to coordinate their fleet." Bella studied the tactical display. The alien command ship was hanging back, trying to maintain its formation while issuing orders to the scattered fleets. If they could take out that ship, the entire invasion might collapse. "Admiral, I'm seeing the same thing," Bella reported. "Recommend we focus fire on the command vessel." "Agreed. All ships, target the alien flagship. Let's cut off the head of the snake." The attack on the alien command ship was the most dangerous part of the battle. The massive vessel was heavily defended, surrounded by escort ships that had managed to maintain formation. But the humans had an advantage. They knew how to fight in the asteroid belt. Captain Dmitry Volkov had one more trick up his sleeve. His mining ship, Hercules, was equipped with an industrial-grade tractor beam, designed to move asteroids. But tractor beams could also be used to accelerate objects to tremendous speeds. "I have idea," Dmitry announced. "Very dangerous idea." "What are you thinking?" Admiral Roth asked. "I use tractor beam to throw asteroid at alien command ship. Big asteroid. Very fast." It was insane, it was desperate, and it just might work. Dmitry maneuvered the Hercules to a position where he could grab a particularly large asteroid with his tractor beam. The rock was the size of a small moon, but his ship's industrial equipment was designed for exactly this kind of work. "Acquiring target," Dmitry announced. "Hercules to all ships, recommend you clear the area. This is going to be spectacular." The tractor beam locked onto the asteroid and began accelerating it toward the alien command ship. The massive rock picked up speed, its trajectory calculated to intersect with the enemy vessel's position. The alien captain, realizing the danger, tried to move his ship out of the way. But command ships were designed for protection, not maneuverability. The massive vessel began to turn, but it was too slow. The asteroid struck the alien flagship amidships at a significant fraction of orbital velocity. The impact was devastating. The command ship's hull cracked like an eggshell, and secondary explosions lit up the interior as critical systems failed. "Direct hit!" Nora shouted from the Valkyrie. "The alien flagship is breaking apart!" With their command ship destroyed, the alien fleet began to collapse. Ships that had maintained perfect formation throughout their journey from the stars now scattered in every direction, their crews panicking as they found themselves alone in a hostile environment they didn't understand. Some tried to flee back toward deep space, but they had to navigate through the same asteroid field that had trapped them. Without their navigation systems and with debris clouding their sensors, many ships collided with rocks or each other. Others tried to fight their way through to the inner solar system, but they found themselves facing the full might of the human fleet. Ships that had been designed to bombard defenseless planets from orbit were no match for vessels built for close-quarters combat in asteroid fields. Dr. Raj Patel, monitoring the battle from Vesta Station, made a crucial observation. "Admiral, I'm detecting escape pods from the alien ships. Some of their crews are abandoning their vessels." "Capture as many as you can," Admiral Roth ordered. "We need to understand who these aliens are and why they came here." The battle raged for 6 more hours, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The alien invasion fleet, which had seemed invincible when it entered the solar system, was being systematically destroyed by human defenders who had turned their own workplace into a killing field. When the last alien ship finally fell silent, the asteroid belt was filled with wreckage from both sides. But the human losses were minimal. A few mining ships, some damaged stations, and a handful of brave souls who had given their lives to defend their species. The alien losses were total. Of the 800 ships that had entered the belt, none would return to report their failure. Captain Bella Morimoto stood in the command center of Prometheus, looking out at the debris field that had once been an invasion fleet. Around her, the men and women who had just won humanity's first interstellar war were trying to process what they had accomplished. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth," Lieutenant Reyes reported. "It's the President." The main screen flickered to life, showing President Jennifer Walsh speaking from the White House Situation Room. Her face was a mixture of relief and amazement. "Captain Morimoto, Admiral Roth, to all the defenders of the belt, on behalf of the people of Earth, I want to thank you for what you've accomplished today. You've not only saved our world, you've proven that humanity will never bow to tyranny, no matter how powerful our enemies might seem." Bella felt a strange mix of emotions. Pride in what they'd accomplished, relief that the immediate threat was over, but also uncertainty about what came next. The universe was clearly a more dangerous place than they'd imagined. "Ma'am, we've captured several alien survivors," Admiral Roth reported. "We should be able to learn more about who they are and where they came from." "Excellent. I'm authorizing the formation of a new joint command structure. We need to be prepared for the possibility that other alien forces might follow." Dr. Kwame Asante had been analyzing the alien technology throughout the battle. He approached Bella with a tablet full of data and a worried expression. "Captain, we need to talk about what we've learned from the alien ships." he said quietly. Bella gestured for him to continue. Their technology is advanced, but it's also standardized. Every ship uses the same basic design, the same weapons, the same systems. It's like they've been using the same technology for centuries without innovation. What does that mean? It means they're not explorers or scientists. They're conquerors. And if they're part of a larger empire, that empire probably has thousands of ships just like these. The implications were staggering. Humanity had won this battle, but they might have just made themselves a target for something much larger and more dangerous. Commander Yuki Tanaka, her scout ship battered but intact, had been conducting reconnaissance throughout the outer solar system. Her report added another layer of concern. Admiral, I've detected energy signatures beyond Pluto's orbit. It looks like there might be more alien ships out there, but they're maintaining position. They're not approaching, but they're not leaving either. Observers? Admiral Roth asked. That's my assessment. I think they're waiting to see what happened to the invasion fleet. Bella realized that the battle was over, but the war might just be beginning. Humanity had proven they could defend their home system, but they were still vastly outnumbered by an alien empire that spanned the stars. Admiral, what are your orders? She asked. We consolidate our victory, study the alien technology, and prepare for whatever comes next. This was just the beginning. Dr. Isabella Vasquez had been studying the captured alien equipment with a team of Earth's best scientists. Her preliminary report was both encouraging and terrifying. The aliens call themselves the Hegemony, she explained to the assembled commanders. They're a hierarchical society that conquers other species and incorporates them into their empire. They've been doing this for thousands of years. How many species have they conquered? President Walsh asked. According to the data we've recovered, at least 47. Some voluntarily joined the Hegemony after being threatened. Others were conquered by force. And now they know about us, Bella said. Yes, but here's the interesting part. They've never encountered a species like humanity before. Most of the races they've conquered were either primitive or highly specialized. They've never faced a species that combines advanced technology with aggressive tactics and adaptability. Lieutenant Nora Morimoto had been studying the alien strategic doctrine with a team of military analysts. Her report revealed why the Hegemony had been so successful for so long. They use overwhelming force, she explained. They send massive fleets to target systems, demand surrender, and then either accept submission or destroy the defenders. It's worked for them because most species either can't fight back effectively or choose to surrender rather than face extinction. But we didn't surrender, Admiral Roth observed. No, and we didn't fight the way they expected. They were prepared for either primitive resistance or sophisticated but predictable military tactics. They weren't prepared for us to turn our own environment into a weapon. The more humanity learned about the Hegemony, the more they realized how precarious their position was. They had won a single battle against the Scout Force, but the alien empire contained millions of ships and had been conquering worlds for millennia. But they had also learned something crucial. The Hegemony could be beaten. Captain Dmitry Volkov, his mining ship Hercules damaged but still functional, had been salvaging alien technology throughout the battle zone. His report offered a glimmer of hope. These alien ships, they are built for intimidation, he explained in his thick accent. Big, powerful, but not efficient. Our ships, they are built for survival in hostile environments. We can outmaneuver them, outthink them, outlast them. What are you suggesting? President Walsh asked. We do not wait for them to come to us again. We take fight to them. We have their star charts now. We know where they come from. It was an audacious idea, humanity taking the offensive against an alien empire. But as the commanders studied the captured data, they began to see the possibilities. The Hegemony was vast but overextended. They relied on fear and overwhelming force, but they had grown complacent after centuries of easy victories. They weren't prepared for an enemy that could adapt, innovate, and fight back. Dr. Raj Patel, working with a team of engineers, had been studying the alien propulsion systems. His report opened up new possibilities for human expansion. The Hegemony uses a form of exotic matter manipulation for faster-than-light travel, he explained. It's crude but effective. With some modifications, we could adapt their technology to our ships. We could build vessels capable of interstellar travel. How long would that take? Admiral Roth asked. With the resources of the entire solar system, maybe 2 years to build a prototype, 5 years to build a fleet. Bella looked around the command center at the faces of the people who had just saved humanity. They were miners, scientists, engineers, and soldiers who had never expected to fight an interstellar war. But they had risen to the challenge and proven that humanity would never surrender. "Admiral, I volunteer to lead the first expedition," she said. "We need to gather intelligence on the hegemony's strengths and weaknesses. And we need to make contact with the species they've conquered. If we're going to fight an empire, we'll need allies." "That's a dangerous mission, Captain," President Walsh warned. "You'd be going into unknown territory with no support." "With respect, ma'am, that's what we do. We're explorers, miners, and engineers. We go into dangerous places and figure out how to survive. The only difference is that now we're doing it to protect our species." The plan that emerged over the following weeks was ambitious beyond anything humanity had ever attempted. They would build a fleet of interstellar ships using captured alien technology. They would send expeditions to gather intelligence on the hegemony and make contact with conquered species. And they would prepare for the inevitable return of alien forces. But first, they had to deal with the immediate aftermath of the battle. The asteroid belt was now a graveyard of alien ships, but it was also a treasure trove of advanced technology. Every piece of equipment, every computer core, every weapon system was being studied and reverse engineered by human scientists. Lieutenant Thomas Reyes had been promoted to captain and given command of the salvage operations. His teams worked around the clock to recover everything they could from the alien wrecks. "We're finding some interesting things," he reported to Admiral Roth. "The aliens have been using the same basic technology for centuries, but it's still more advanced than ours in some areas. Their energy weapons are incredibly powerful, and their hull materials are unlike anything we've seen." "Can we replicate it?" "Given time and resources, yes. But more importantly, we can improve on it. Their technology is advanced but static. Ours is less advanced but more adaptable." Dr. Kwame Asante had been working with the alien prisoners, trying to understand their psychology and motivation. His report revealed disturbing truths about the hegemony. "They're not evil in the way we might think," he explained. "They genuinely believe they're bringing order to the galaxy. They see themselves as the natural rulers of space, and they view other species as either useful servants or dangerous obstacles." "What about the species they've conquered?" Bella asked. "Some have been integrated into the hegemony and now serve willingly. Others are enslaved and forced to work for their conquerors. A few have been completely exterminated for refusing to submit." The knowledge that there were enslaved species throughout the hegemony gave humanity another motivation for their planned offensive. They weren't just fighting for their own survival. They were fighting for the liberation of countless beings who had been oppressed by the alien empire. Commander Yuki Tanaka had been conducting long-range reconnaissance throughout the outer solar system. Her reports indicated that the hegemony was still watching, still waiting. "There are definitely more alien ships beyond the heliopause," she reported. "They're maintaining position, but not approaching. I think they're waiting for reinforcements or orders from their superiors." "How much time do we have?" Admiral Roth asked. "Unknown, but based on their communication patterns, I estimate they've sent messages back to their empire. It could be months or years before we see another invasion fleet." The time estimate gave humanity a crucial window for preparation. They would use every day to build their defenses, study alien technology, and prepare for the next phase of the conflict. President Walsh addressed the world from the United Nations headquarters in New York. Her speech was broadcast to every human colony, every space station, and every ship in the solar system. "Today we learned that we are not alone in the universe," she said. "We also learned that the universe is a dangerous place, filled with beings who would destroy us simply because we refuse to submit to their will. But we also learned something else. We learned that humanity will never surrender. We learned that when faced with impossible odds, we don't give up. We innovate. We adapt. We find a way to win." The battle for the asteroid belt was just the beginning. The alien empire that attacked us is still out there, still plotting our destruction. But they made a crucial mistake. They underestimated the human spirit. Today I'm announcing the formation of the Terran Defense Initiative. We will build the ships, weapons, and alliances necessary to defend not just our world, but every world that values freedom over tyranny. The aliens came here thinking they would conquer another primitive species. Instead, they've awakened a sleeping giant. They've given us the stars, and we're going to use them. The speech marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. No longer would they be confined to one solar system, hoping to avoid contact with hostile aliens. They would become an interstellar power, capable of defending themselves and their allies throughout the galaxy. Captain Bella Morimoto stood in the observation deck of Prometheus, looking out at the construction sites that had sprung up throughout the asteroid belt. Massive shipyards were taking shape, building vessels that combined human engineering with alien technology. The sight filled her with pride and determination. "Quite a view," Admiral Roth said, joining her at the window. "It's the future," Bella replied. "Those ships will carry us to the stars, and into war with an empire that's been conquering worlds for thousands of years. Maybe, but they've never faced humans before. They've never fought a species that turns mining equipment into weapons of war. They've never encountered people who look at impossible odds and see an interesting challenge." Admiral Roth smiled. "You really think we can win?" "I think we don't have a choice. The hegemony won't stop coming until we're all dead or enslaved. So we're going to have to stop them first." The two women stood in comfortable silence, watching the construction crews work. Around them, the asteroid belt bustled with activity as humanity prepared for its next great adventure. The aliens had come here to destroy them, but instead, they had given humanity the tools and motivation to become something greater. The invasion fleet had crossed the belt and was never heard from again. But their legacy would live on in the human ships that would soon carry the fight to the stars, and in the spirit of defiance that had saved the human race. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when someone threatened humanity's home, and the lesson would be written in fire and starlight across the cosmos. As the construction continued around them, Bella and Admiral Roth began planning humanity's first interstellar expedition. The war with the hegemony was far from over, but the first battle had been won by human courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to surrender in the face of impossible odds. The hunters had become the hunted, and the hunt was about to begin.